All right. My name is Søren Beck Jensen. I am the CEO of Jensen Technologies. You can contact me on the contact information you see there, on Twitter at Søren Beck or at that email address. I am a developer myself. I developed the original component creator. Now I have people helping me with that. I'm also a designer and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm very much a Joomla enthusiast. I speak about Joomla, I write about Joomla, and I love Joomla. I volunteer in the marketing department, in the resources directory, and I'm part of the Joomla World Conference team as well. My company Jensen Technologies started in 2005. We only do Joomla development. We're 100% focused on that. I can gather the session that was here before that was about building your business around Joomla, so some of you have probably heard about stuff like this. We have 7 employees, and we're based in Granada, Spain. Jensen Technologies, we do several different things. We do component creator, which I'm talking about. We also do a translation solution for Joomla called Neno that allows you to translate your website content and set up a multilingual website without any performance degradation, and where you can order professional translation from within the component. And we have Not Web Design, or Not Just Web Design, which is our part of the company that does consulting services and building websites for clients. And then we have another website called Automatic Backlinks, which is a search engine optimization, link building network that, among other things, works for Joomla, but also for Drupal and WordPress and stuff like that. So anyway, that was enough about me. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about Component Creator to the people who are not familiar with it. With Component Creator, you can build components for either Joomla 2.5 or for 3.x. So you set the version in when you build your component. And you can actually set up a component and then you can build it for 2.5 and you can also build it for 3.5. You don't need to redo the work. It follows the Joomla model view controller code structure 100%. So it creates correct code and it allows you to save a lot of time. It creates a complete CRUD. A CRUD is, if you're not familiar with that term, is create, read, update, and delete interface for both the admin and the front end. So basically you define your database structure and which fields you want and which forms you want and which lists you want, and then you get a complete, as we all are familiar with how the administration interface looks for components, you get complete functionality for that, but you also get it for the front end if you choose to set that up in your component. We've been doing this since 2009. And it's free to use Component Creator. We have a premium solution for building multiple table solutions. It's free if you only want to build for one table, and when I say table, I mean database tables. We have more than 50,000 Joomla developers using Component Creator, and we've almost created 100,000 components. The 50,000th user just got a free and 1-year premium subscription, and the same will go for whoever builds component number 100,000. So we're getting near, so start building lots of component. Maybe you'll be the lucky one with component number 100,000 and you'll get a 1-year free subscription to Component Creator. Anyway, let's build a component. That's why we're here. I've been foolish enough to say that what we're going to do is we're going to build a component based on what you say. You're going to challenge me. We're going to build something together. We have only now half an hour. That's why I'm rushing a little bit. And I'm sure it's going to fail. There's going to be things that go wrong, and I'm sure you're going to find every weakness there is in Component Creator. But that's what I want. I want it to be a bit chaotic. I think it's more fun this way, and it's very much an interactive session. So ask away. Challenge me, participate, right? You decide what we should build. So Anybody has any projects they're working on, something they would like to build? Yeah?
I don't know if it's too complicated, but I would like to have like a component where I could check what Joomla version is using.
The website outside.
Well, that's functionality that obviously is not inside Component Creator. What we should be looking for, a type of component we can build, is something where we manually add data into a database, and we manually want to search that data, and we maybe want to combine two tables so that you look in one table, it pulls stuff from the other table. So something, I mean, if we manually store that data, yes, that could be a solution. Anything else?
Kind of student management system where students can, we can feed
For a school to manage the students and maybe teachers?
their teachers, their attendants, their
Good idea. What, did you have an idea? Sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Shall be managing people's birthdays and we enter birthday, let's say birth,
So managing users' birthdays? Yes.
I can schedule a doctor meetings.
Schedule an appointment with the doctor. Yeah, that could be. I think that's a good one.
The birthday reminder, the same idea, I think. Birthday reminder, because people do get forgot their friends and family birthdays.
Birthday reminder. I don't think we're not trying to build a startup here. We're not looking for the good business idea. We're looking for something that can demonstrate what Component Creator can do. What I'm looking for is something that kind of has several database tables that we can kind of connect and play with and search in and stuff like that. And for birthdays, it's like a name and a birthday. There's not really anything. I like this, the doctor's appointments or the school. Let's hear one more idea. A library system. Definitely, that's another great idea. So what do people think? Should we go library, doctor, or school? School? Doctor. 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 We do the doctor. Okay. All right. See, already it's chaotic. I love it. Right. So actually, let me just log out here because I just want to show you. So this is Component Creator. If you've never been to the website, I can announce today that we are in the process of totally redesigning the whole interface because we're not really too proud of this pink color. No, that's not the reason. We're working a lot with improving the user experience. But we have redesigned everything. We haven't implemented it yet, and we have a lot of other things we want to work on first, so it's probably going to take a while, but it will be changed. I just wanted to show you that, as you can see, we have more than 50,000 members. That we reached that about 3 weeks ago, I think, and we've had 859 new members since then. But we have, huh?
the 9, the 18, the 59, the 9.
Oh, you've just registered? Now start building almost 4,500 or 410 components, because then you could be number 100,000 components. So we are very close to that milestone, and if you manage to build that particular component, you will be winning 1 year free subscription. Anyway, let me just log in. Unfortunately, it seems that the internet connection is extremely slow. So that's already the first thing that's going to be fun to work with. I'm logging in, and I can tell you it's not the Component Creator website. That's very fast. It's the internet connection here. Anyway, when you first log in, you'll see you haven't added any components. So this is a web-based interface for building the structure of a component in Joomla. And when we're done with this, we will just click download, and we'll download a zip file. We're ready to install into a Joomla installation that has everything. So I'm rushing because I have to. We don't have a lot of time. You click Get Started Now, and it says, okay, so you want to create a component, obviously, because you don't have any components. So we were doing a doctor. Should we call it that? Doctor. This is version 1.00 of our component. I want to build a Joomla 3 component, not a Joomla 5, but this was what I talked about earlier. If you wanted to, you can change. Let's add some languages. I'm just going to add Spanish, because I also speak a bit of Spanish. And you can set stuff, basically the kind of stuff you set in these fields, the copyright license and stuff like that. That's what's added to the comment section of each file that we generate. So I'm going to create my component, So great, now we've created ComDoctor, you can see up here, but it doesn't have any table. So let's create a table. Now what I could do, if I already had in MySQL structure, I could import that. And so I could create lots of tables and fields very quickly that way. In fact, it's a great way to, if you have like a Joomla 2.5 component, want to upgrade it, it's a great way to get started on that process, is to simply import the table structure from that component, put it in here, and then we can generate all the skeleton 3.0 Joomla code, and you can start implementing whatever is unique for your component very quickly. You can also manually add a table, which is what we'll do. You can add an empty view, as we call it. It's basically just a flat view that has no model. So sometimes you just want to display some static data or something like that, so you can add that. You can add parameter, so we know that from the settings of a component. Anyway, I'm going to add a manual table. I will not have time to show every little feature of Component Creator, unfortunately. You'll have to explore a little bit on your own. But hopefully I can show the power and the flexibility and the kind of code we create. And I'm sorry it's very slow, but it is the internet connection. There we go. So now it's saying, okay, let's create a table in your component. It's automatically suggesting that we call it _doctor. It's kind of like a naming convention in Joomla. So what we need to think about now in our component is, okay, let's build out the structure. We're going to need some patients. And what else? We need appointments, maybe? Should we say that's it? Patients and appointments, right? So in order to be able to add an appointment, I would need to have some patients first, right? And doctors. All right, so we'll create 3. We have to be extra quick then. So we can start with patients. Is that spelled correctly? Storage engine, I can change the storage engine. We just leave it at the server default. Same with collation. Then it automatically recommends some display names. So these are administrative views. So views I want to get in the administrator. I want a list view in the administrator. That means I want to see a list of patients in my administrator. Yes, please. I can change the icon. Maybe we should see if we can find something that looks like a person. There, that looks like a good thing for patients. And then I want to have a form view in the administrator. This means I want to be able to edit this data and create new patients. Then we can talk about a list in the front end. Probably not the best idea to expose my patients in the front end. So maybe I shouldn't add a list view in the front end. But we'll just do it anyway to demonstrate. But in a real life example, we probably wouldn't add a front end view of our patients because it could be for logged in, or for when the medical secretary is working from home, right? Right. So we're going to add to the front end, and we want to see a list of patients. And then the question is here: do we want to link from that list to a details page of each patient? You could imagine we'd add a photo and stuff like that. So we say yes. Do we want to allow editing of the patients in the front end? Let's not do that for patients, but maybe we can do it for appointments. Then I can add ACL, but that simply gets too complicated for this demonstration. But I can add ACL, the built-in Joomla ACL, and say only the secretary can create appointments, and only the doctors can actually cancel appointments or something like that.
Is that automatic, or we have to configure further for the ACL?
There's more configuration for the ACL to set that up properly. Right, so now it has created my patients table. It's automatically created 6 fields that are very common to Joomla. ID, ordering, so we can order our patients, state, checked out time, and created by. Those checked out time, and created by. That's what handles this whole thing that something gets locked out, so 2 people can't edit the same thing at the same time. But we need to add some more fields to our table. So we have patients. We probably want a name field. So let's say we want name. If it was for real, I would probably create a first name, last name field. But let me show you the many different types of fields you can create in Component Creator. There's all the standard. There are a few fields that we're missing from the standard Joomla that are not really, you can't really create dynamically because they require more configuration. But we have pretty much everything else. A text field, text area field, checkbox, checklist. You can WYSIWYG editor, hidden field, calendar, which we'll use in a bit, language fields, all these different Joomla fields, menu item field, file list, folder list, SQL field, user group, all of those are fields that Joomla comes with as standard, and if you're used to developing with JForm, you should be familiar with these field types. You can also use some special fields that are unique to Component Creator. Foreign key, we will definitely look at that in a minute. Created by, modified by, time created, time updated, a toggle button, an alias field. Alias field is for building the URL structure for search engine friendly URLs. Or you could simply choose an SQL field. We have all the different SQL fields that you could choose as well.
Can you bring some data from external API or something?
Not as a field, no. That kind of stuff you'd have to develop yourself. Text fields. I want to show the name field in my list and what should be the label for those two name. And actually I also want to be able to, in my admin list, to be able to search for my patients' names. So that's what I said yes to here. We could add it would be obvious to add, for instance, like a social security number and stuff like that. I'm going to just skip that now because we have to create 3 tables, so we will really be in a rush. So I will add another table instead. So now we have patients. We talked about doctors and appointments, right? So I would say that we should create a doctors, let's call it that. And it automatically comes and say, okay, so we'll call it doctors. We want a form view and an administrator. We want a list view in the front end, link to details, and we wouldn't allow normally front end editing, but I'll do that now just so we can see it if we have time. So now I'm creating my doctors table. Again, it creates these 6 fields, and I guess we would also add a name there. So it's a little bit very similar. What we could have actually done is we could have copied the patients table and just renamed it. Which might have been faster with this internet connection. Name, text field. I'm just going to skip ahead very quickly and do the same thing. Any other field we should add to our doctors table? Specialization. Yes, but yeah, okay, let's do that. We could make that a select box. Now, again, to do that properly, I would create another table called specialities, and then I would add things to that and allow, so because that creates the most flexible solution. But for this example, I think we should just make a select box with some fixed items to choose from, right? So should it be a multiple select or a single select? Okay. You're not very good. You're not very good at challenging me. Speciality. So we would create a select list, right? So and again, it comes up and warns you and said it's better actually to use a foreign key and create your own table and stuff like that. So we try to encourage good data model structure, but we can do this anyway. So we can set a default, we can set a description, but really what we're interested in is that we want to store some values. And so let's say we store 1 is, what could be a specialty? Somebody help me. You are good at challenging me. Cardiology. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm just adding these fields. Oncology. Is that correct as well? Oncology? Huh? Family doctor. Okay. We'll. All right. I think 3 is enough to show the possibility. Now here I could say multiple. Should you be able to select multiple, and then it would just change the select box and allow you to more. It would be more like tags that you could kind of tag. Specialty. Should it be required that a doctor has a specialty? Yeah. Yes. Okay. We'll make the field required. When we see our list of doctors, do we want to see his specialty? Yes. Okay. Should we be able to text-based search for specialty? Now, before you say yes, there's also an option, and we can add both, but there's also an option, we can add a filter for it on our list of doctors, so we can see show only doctors, and then we'll get a select box who has this specialty. Both, yeah. Both, okay, perfect. We're adding that field. Now we need to add our appointments. Yeah, I could. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so here's our doctors table with our name and specialty. So we're going to go ahead and create another table. What's our time? 11:30. We have 15 minutes. So run. So we're going to have our appointment. Is that correct? Is it 2Ps? Yeah. Display name, appointment. Huh? Okie dokie. And add a list view in the front end. We want to see our appointments. Link to the details, allow front-end editing. Yes, sure, we can allow users to edit their own appointments. Create a table. Then I'm going to add a field to my appointments, and I'm going to say, what should the field name be? It should be the patient, right? Patient ID, I will call it. And then we're going to select from a unique field, which is a foreign key. And so now it comes up and it loads the tables that I have in my component, plus all the standard core Joomla ones. So I could say I want to select the Joomla user. But we've already created our patients table, and that's where we're going to find our information. Just let it load with this super slow internet connection. So it recommends that we use the ID from that table as the key, and that's correct. And I want to use the name, so when I select which patient I want to create an appointment for, I want to pick from a drop-down the name of the user. If for instance, we had added the social security number, I could have picked the social security number. And that's about it. We want to show it on the form view. For when we create a new appointment, we want to obviously select the user. It should be a required field. When we see our list of appointments, we want to see the user or the patient's name. And when we see our list of appointments, we want to search, and we also want to add a filter. So, as somebody said, we also needed to add a date to our appointment list and a doctor. So I'm rushing. We now have 14 minutes. No stress. What did we say? Date, right? Maybe we should call it time, because it probably... Let's see, what should we pick? We should pick a calendar. Okay, then it probably should be called date. And then we will store the time in another field, right? Default description, read-only disable, class does none of this. And see now, because I wrote time, it's used that, but it should be required field that you set a date when you create, sorry? Show that on list view, sorry? Include field in text-based searches, add a filter, yeah, let's just click it all. That was our date field. Now we just need to add the doctor, and then maybe we're good enough. Is there any field that anybody that might not fit into this, but they're really curious about seeing? Because we could maybe have time to just add one more field that is a profile.
The picture of the patient.
Oh, yeah, you do like challenging me. Let's see, we needed the doctor. And we are going to select again from the foreign key. And then we're going to wait a little bit. There we go. We are going to select from our doctors table. And we want, again, the ID and the name. Again, you could see I could also select the specialty of the doctor, but really wouldn't make much sense. And so we have that the label is doctor. I want to make it required. I want to show it on the list view. Include field in text-based searches. Add a filter. Yeah. Too quick for you? It's too quick for me. Profile pic. We have. Yeah, I think we can do it.
Can I search by multiple titles? For example, there's a list of 100 doctors, and now I need to find a single one. So in the select list, it would be basically alphabetical.
Yeah.
But can I
Use his name and his social security number to find out which doctor it is.
Yes.
So can I have multiple select lists to get one result out?
Yeah, you have multiple filters. Like in the Joomla administration, you have multiple filters you can apply in your list. Yes. Right, we want to add one more field very quickly. Sorry. Did I just go? I'm standing on my microphone. There we go. Now, actually, I must admit I have never added a field for images, so we're just going to... Oh, but actually, I don't want it in my appointments table. I want it in my users table, right? Or my patients table, on my doctors table. Maybe it's patients is better. We can in our patients table. Well, we could add another table called X-rays, and then. But let's do it in our patients table. Let's just add a photo field. Photo. Now, let's see, I have no idea what we should select here.
Might be you don't have, but I have used that.
There's an image list. Sorry?
I have used that
Which one?
image.
Image list? Or just image? Is there one called? I don't see one called image. Where is that? File field wouldn't show an image though. That's more like a downloadable file. So if you wanted to add a PDF or something like that. I don't know what an image list is. A media manager. Yes, you're right. That is what we need to do. Okay, so photo, make the field required. No, we don't want to require photos. We don't really want to show it on the list view. That would kind of mess up our list. So it's a good field for show. Oh, this field is directory. Ah, okay. So patients, right? Well, I certainly feel challenged. Right, so now we have spent, I don't know, 20 minutes building our component. If we had had a faster internet connection, we could have probably added a few more fields. But what I would simply do now is just click build. And it takes all of this information. It creates all of these files for me in site administrator. And then it loads a little bit because there's a slow internet connection. And it downloads my com doctor 1.00 zip. And that should simply be ready to install. So if I go over here, I just set up a Joomla, blank vanilla Joomla latest version. I go to manage extensions, and I say I want to hopefully find something. Oh, I thought I was in downloads. Okay, there we go. Open, and this is where we cross our fingers. Doctor was installed successful. Now you can see it. It's fast. Installation. Yes, yeah, right. Aren't we great? We've created a component. So now I have up here in components, I have doctor, I have patients, doctors, and appointments. I would probably start by going and adding a doctor. As you can see, this is standard Joomla stuff. We have our filters here, status, and here you can select the speciality of the doctors. I would create a new doctor. What should we call him? Dr. Joomla, yes. Okay, I think we should have at least 2 doctors, so what's another doctor? Huh? Dr. Søren, okay. That's scary. I don't want to be cardiology, I want a family, yeah. Right, so now you can see we have 2 doctors. They each have their own specialty, and of course I could create more. And that's, maybe we should quickly, this is probably where it's going to go totally wrong, but just have a look at the code so that you can see that the code is, any file we should look at, administrator, model maybe. Let's look at the doctor model. If I can open it with something interesting, text edit maybe. Let's see, can you all see this? Okay, so as you can see, it's correct Joomla code. It's commented and it's yeah. If you're a developer, we even prepare stuff like for instance, here's a get item method. We do processing in fields if needed. So we prepare it for the developer to make it easy to make any customizations that you want. We don't expect you to really be able to make, in some cases you can, but we don't really expect you to be able to make a full component using Component Creator. We expect you to be able to save a lot of hours using Component Creator. And we expect you to take all the boring work out of developing Joomla components, because if you've ever developed more than one Joomla component, you know that it's time consuming and it's very repetitive to create models and views and controllers and extending them and remembering to rename them correctly and extending the right models and extending the right classes. And that's where we can help. Anyway, back to our components, or to our component. I guess we need some patience. So again, we have, in the patients, we had the name. WordPress. I can see we're definitely going to have to schedule something with Dr. Joomla, right? And here I can pick some images. I don't know if I have Fruit Shop. Yes. Insert. And I click save. And that is selected. It would then, actually we can see maybe in the front end, that will be loaded with that person. Save a new Drupal. Right? Sample data, parks, landscape, Yeah, that's Drupal right there. I think that's it. Save and close. So now we have our patients. Again, normally I would have added more fields, and but now we have patients and doctors, and now we need to make an appointment. Our very first appointment in our doctor's schedule, or in our doctor's office. So first I can choose my patient. Which patient am I making? WordPress, right? Yeah. And I can pick a date. So this is standard Joomla field, the date picker, the calendar. Let's get it today. And I can pick my doctor, and definitely Dr. Joomla. And again, I can do save and new, and I can say also I want to schedule something for Drupal, but that should definitely not be until tomorrow, and I can handle that. Right, so that is basically it. I can show here, we talked about filters. I can now see, show me only the appointments where the patient is WordPress. And so then I only see WordPress. Yes, let's do front end. So I need to go into menus, main menu, add new menu item. I am going to create, again, all of this is set up for you. I have my doctor's component, and I can, because of the settings when we created our component, we said, do we want front end views for these things? So I can choose either lists or forms. In this case, what should we see in the front end? Appointments. Okay. So we will show a list of appointments. Target menu, template style, main menu item root, title. Yep. Appointments. Save and close, I think. Let's try and check out our new website. Now I have an appointments here, and as you can see, I can see the appointments I created before. I can't edit them right now because I'm not logged in, but if I log in as a user who has rights to edit, see if I can remember the password, then I should be able to, then I get some actions, so I can edit from the front end, the same as we saw in the admin. The same things. I can change the appointment. I can change the doctor, whatever. So that's basically it. We've created a doctor's component in half an hour, and there's still there's still time for a few questions. So if you have any comments or whatever, yes.
Dr. Søren, is that possible that someone from the front end make an entry for the appointment, and then he can log in and edit that his own entry?
Yes, that we needed to set up ACL to get proper to properly set up those users. But as you can see now, I'm logged in as administrator. I can add from the front end as well, so I can add another appointment for Drupal because it didn't go so well in the first one. You need to come back for a scan or something. So you have all of that flexibility that you would find typically in Joomla as well with ACL and stuff like that. So yes, you can do that. Any other questions?
I want the patients to have their documents stored to show it to the doctor as an e-document.
Yes. Then you would just simply use the field called file list. Yes, that's definitely possible. Easy peasy. What, sorry?
Batch actions, like can I select multiple records and publish and delete?
Not in the front end by default. No. We just generate code. So it's easy to add that kind of stuff yourself. The question was if you could add batch actions in the front end, like you have in the back end. You can select all from a list and say unpublish or stuff like that. That's not part of the front end.
Say for example, we don't want to show this publish field.
Yes. Then you simply. Yeah. Then. Then I can show you that. You'd go back to your component, your doctor, and then you'd wait because you have a slow internet connection. And you simply in the list of fields for what are we looking at? Appointments. You can see you have 9 fields, and you would simply say that on the list form you do not want state. Yes, where are we? State. Just simply you don't want that on. Now I think that goes for both the admin and the front end. Yes. So if you only wanted to do the front end, you'd simply just take it out in your template, right? You know, in the view. I mean, you just take it out from there. And as I said, we don't expect you to be able to do 100% with Component Creator. This is very much I think of it as a developer's tool. I know we have a lot of users who are not really developers and who are using it, and they can get like 95% of the ways. We also have a lot of project managers who like to kind of outline the component that they want to build. And so they sit and do all this stuff in Component Creator, and then they build the component and they send to the developer and say, please finish it, please create that API connection, please create whatever unique functionality there is. And so it can be a great tool for that as well. I just wanted to show you this slide before we end. This is not valid as of yet. I hope it will be starting tomorrow afternoon loading. You can see it there. 50% discount on our premium solution if you use the code JWC15.
For the one who attended what is the special discount for the one who
No, but only the people in this session have seen this code, right? So just don't tell anybody. Then it is special. Yes.
Is it version dependent?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it's version dependent, this particular component. Say, example, tomorrow I'm upgrading my Joomla version.
Well, that depends on what changes in the Joomla version. If it breaks backwards compatibility, then it would be, but typically Joomla doesn't, right? Or it doesn't.
And then we need to component or something like that.
Well, if something new is put into the core of Joomla, we're usually very fast at changing that in Component Creator as well. But Joomla doesn't break backwards compatibility, so it really doesn't happen. It's more about new features that we add, a new field that is added to Joomla than we added. No, actually, sorry, I think, did you have a question over there?
it's more of a complaint rather than a question. The code that is you generate, it's not basically PHP validated.
I know we have a few issues with formatting of the code, and we are working on improving that. It's only a few places, but it's enough that it can't pass like code sniffing. So it's issues with formatting, indenting, and stuff like that in a few of our files, and I know it can be a headache. If you haven't already, then go to our forums in the feature request and just +1 that feature request, because we really look at that when we decide what to implement and what to fix. You had a question in the back?
Add any parameter in the configuration page?
Yes. If we looked here, where are we? If I go back, the question was if you can add parameters in the configuration interface. Instead of adding a table, you can simply add configuration. You can see add parameter, and that actually basically creates also fields, but in the kind of in the right hand side, up in the right hand side, the options for the whole component. Yeah. You would typically need to actually manually develop something to use those options, but you can create them there. Yeah? Any other questions?
Is there any copyright of Component Creator included in the source files?
No, not unless you have specifically said you want that. I guess we can see. Where's my? Did I close that? But there is not. No, there's no copyright. We don't have any copyright over anything you create. Any other question? Last one.
Is there any documentation if I want to edit some codes, like he said he want to integrate get some data from API, so I didn't find any doc here. So
do you mean, no, I mean that's general Joomla development. Whatever you want to do, there's all the Joomla documentation. It's basically building standard Joomla stuff. We can't really help you because you could say I want to build the next Facebook, you know. Who knows? We don't know what you're going to do with it, with the code after you build. But we I can guarantee you that if you build a component from scratch, you will save at least 2 hours work, and in many cases, as much as 10 or 20 hours work, depending on the size of the component. So anybody, let me ask, there's a lot more people here now than when we just started. So who uses Component Creator already? Great, great. Well, thanks for coming, and also thanks to all the people who have never used Component Creator. Thanks to all of you for coming.
Thanks to you for making our work easy.
You're welcome.